welcome back to another Gem or Bust Amp Dyno video and walk around. That's right, this is not a budget Gem or Bust series video. Today I've got a little bit of a more expensive amplifier, but still, in my opinion, on paper, a really good value. This amplifier comes from Synergy Mobile Audio. You may remember we did one of their budget lines a couple of videos back. We did their EFA 1K, which is squarely in the heart of budget territory, priced below $200. I think that one was like $169, $189, something like that. I can't remember what they were selling for off the top of my head. But after that video, the owner of Synergy Audio, his name's Craig Kunkel, he sent me a message and said, hey, that's not our meat and potatoes line. What we are really known for are our WFO series. And he said, I have got a new WFO series 2.1 and 3.1 series amplifiers, and would I be interested in testing those out? And I said, absolutely. So this here is the new Synergy Audio WFO 2.1D. This is their 2,000 watt amplifier. I think it's actually rated at 2,250 watts by 1 at 1 ohm. So at $459 retail, it's about the heart of the pricing for quality made Korean amplifiers or Korean built amplifiers. It's going to compete against your Alphard, Defbonce or Apocalypse 2Ks like we tested earlier. It's going to go against an Orion at retail price, not the Amazon price, an Orion XTR 2500, your Sundown Audio 2500s, your, you name it, Crescendo, blah blah blah, Ampere, Incriminator, on and on and on. All are going to be in this class of amplifier. So this is the offering here from Synergy. I didn't get a retail box with it because this was the first one they had shipped in the country that is let's say I don't want to call it a complete prototype, because normally when you get a prototype from an amp maker, it is not already branded like a retail unit would be. Very generic, like we've seen in the Wolframs. This one here is fully branded, so I'd call this more of like a retail mock-up. In other words, this is the first one they designed. Do you approve of how it's going to look? And they did. So this is going to be exactly the same as what you get out of a retail box. But, you know, there's some compromises. I didn't get a retail box. I didn't get a bass knob. So, enough of me rambling on. We're going to walk around the amplifier. We're going to see what kind of features you get for $459. And then, of course, we're going to strap it up to the old trusty SMD Designs, Tony D'Amore engineered Amp Dyno, the 81. We're going to find out just how much power this amplifier produces, and I'm going to give you my thoughts after it's all said and done. So, without further ado, let's check out the sides of the amp. Along this side of the amplifier, we find our power and ground input terminals, as well as our remote power input terminal as well. These are just what you want to see in an amplifier of this power capacity. They are 1-aught power and ground, and 8-gauge remote power in. I know the 8-gauge seems like it might be a little bit of an overkill for a remote trigger wire. Most of them are like 18 or 20 gauge that we use for that wiring. But the nice thing is it does give us some extra space in between the power and ground, so you can avoid any type of shorts. Or if you've got dual inputs, it'll give you some additional room in there for wiring. Along this side of the amplifier, I think I'm in love. This is where we find all of our settings, as well as our RCA inputs and outputs. And I gotta say, I'm already in love just at first glance. All right, our RCA inputs and outputs, these use a Tiffany style higher end RCA connector all the way across. You have your RCA ins, your outputs, and of course your RCAs for linking two of these together and strapping them. Over here, of course, we have our our speaker output terminals. These are 8 gauge as well. I also, it's like I designed an amplifier. Because you know what's missing? Bass boost. There's no bass boost. Why? Because morons use bass boost. You don't need bass boost if you set the amp up properly. Okay? And so there is no bass boost on this amp. I'm so happy. I've only seen this one other time before, and it just makes me so excited. And the other thing that's nice that I really like on here, right there, this isn't just power and protect, and clip indicating, so you will know if you're going to clip on this amp. If I had a remote bass knob, that is also going to be on there. They'll have a clip indicating remote bass knob. Again, this amp is made by S&I, so that is a more common feature you're seeing with the higher end S&I design amps. We of course have our gain control there. That's pretty standard stuff, just 8 volts to 0.2 volts. And your subsonic filter, adjustable from 10 hertz to 50 hertz. And our low pass filter from 35 hertz to 250 hertz. Here, this one, I gotta say, I don't have a manual for this amp. So, right here, which is where you select your settings for your master amp, master slave, for strapping. But there is another one here called link. And again, I can't recall seeing this on an amp before that I've tested. I don't have any experience with a linking feature of an amp. So some of you out there might know what this is for. Or if Craig, if you're watching, if you can post in the comments below what this is for. I personally think this might be for linking more than 2 amps together for strapping. Like 3 or 4 amps together. I don't know. I know with my power supplies that I use that are actually made by S&I as well. My PSUs, I can link up to 4 of them together for DC power outputs. So I don't know if this is the same thing, but for amps. I'm a little curious on that one. So someone post in the comments below if you know what that is. Again, I haven't seen it before, and I have no manual, so I apologize I can't get it for you. But man, tons of good stuff already on this amp. All right, opening her up. And oh yeah, that's what we like to see here. It's not a very common board. I tried looking up and seeing if anybody else makes the same board for an amplifier, and I couldn't find it. Doesn't mean that's not the case. But I mean, it's just great build quality from S&I in Korea. I mean, everything is seated down perfectly, just the way you would want it. They say it's a high-grade 3-ounce printed circuit board, whatever the hell that means. I do know that, when I push down, there is no flex in here, that's what you want to see. There are 3 places here where it is anchored down to the chassis, so the circuit board's not just in there floating. The caps are 85 degrees. I would love to have seen 105 degrees, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't often see capacitors really failing in amps anymore. I mean, it might hurt the longevity, but I mean, if you're buying a 2500 watt amplifier, very few of you guys keep them for 10 years anymore. So I don't know if that's going to matter to you or not. They are 3300 microfarad, these here, and 100 volts. So pretty much what you want to see on an amp like this. I mean, really, for a 2200 watt amp, this looks overbuilt. So if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say these guts tell me this is more than 2200 watts, but that's what we do dyno tests for. So we'll see. Alright, nothing left to do here but to strap up the Synergy Audio WFO 2.1D up to the old amp dyno and find out just how much power she's got. Is she underrated? Is she overrated? I don't know. I mean, the thing is built like a tank, so if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say underrated, but this is why we do the tests. I'll see you when we're done. Okay, final thoughts here on the Synergy Audio WFO 2.1D. So let's just get this right off the bat. Hell yeah, this thing is a gem. Holy crap. It absolutely obliterated its ratings. I mean, it wasn't even close. I mean, you want to talk about, okay, you know, what is an underrated amp? Yeah, I'd say an amp is underrated when it exceeds its power by like 10%. I mean, this thing was over 30%, easily, everywhere, you know, and more than that when you're talking like it was almost 50, it was over 50% underrated on an uncertified test. What the hell, man? I mean, the only way I can describe as to why they would do it that way is, quite frankly, I mean, they're promising your number, you know. So, am I going to get 2200 watts at 12 volts? Yep. Am I going to get it over 13 volts? Yep. Am I going to get it at 14.4 volts? Going to get more than that, but yep. So, you know, if some of you guys are a little bit on the weaker electrical system and you can't sustain 14.4 volts, and you still want over 2200 watts, yeah, this thing is going to give it to you. That doesn't mean undersupply current to it by any stretch, but what I'm saying is, you know, from 12 volts to 14 volts, I'm pretty sure you could take it to the bank. This thing's going to deliver what you paid for, you know, even in a boxerized situation. You know, we got 2,000 watts, I think uncertified at 2 ohms. So if you're at 1 ohm and you rise to 2, man, you're still going to get 2,000 watts if you got 14 volts. I mean, so this is solid. I mean, with what it's priced at, because that's really what it's going to come down to for a lot of you is what is it priced against, you know. And I know some people are already going, man, the Wolfram gives you, you know, the Wolfram C2400 is close. It's like, well, yes and no, you know. I mean, in terms of pure wattage, yes. In terms of build quality, this one's going to take it. In terms of just, do I think this thing, I think you could drop this thing off a cliff and it'll still play music. Now, don't try that, all right? Don't try it. But I'm just saying, this thing is built like an absolute tank. So you really got to compare it against Sundown, Crescendo, the other Korean-made amps, your Alphards, your DC Audios, your Amperes, your Incriminator, your, you know, all those amplifiers that are the higher end Korean-made amps. I think this one stands out. I really do. I like the look of it. It's overbuilt. I mean, I can't say enough how awesome this one had performed for me. So, I am going to share a little bit of love here, though. After I was tested, you know, I got done doing the dyno tests, I texted the owner of Synergy Audio, and of course, because always thought comes into mind, since this one is kind of a prototype, is this a ringer? And you know, the only way you can really, you know, get around that is, well, if they want it back, maybe it's a ringer, you know. But they said, you know what, it's not a ringer, give it away. All right, so I'm giving this thing away. So check out the description below. It'll tell you how to enter to win this exact amplifier. All right, and then, you know, we're gonna have one in the wild, so it's gonna perform exactly like all the production model ones that came in behind it. So awesome job, Synergy. I absolutely love this amp. I kind of regretting giving this away now because I kind of want to keep it for myself, but that's not what I said I would do. But I kind of want to keep it. I'm still going to give it away. Maybe. Okay, no, I am going to give it away. All right, so that's it for me, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. In the meantime, I've got a ton of amps to test. I'll see you soon.